Good evening. Welcome to the Lorain County Board of Commissioners meeting of June 2nd, 2021. This meeting will now come to order. We will rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And our inspirational word for the day comes from John. We love because he first loved us.
Thank you, Commissioner Lundy. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung.
Here.
Commissioner Lundy.
Here.
Commissioner Moore.
Oh,
Commissioner Lundy.
sorry.
Commissioner Lundy?
How we look
I'm
alike.
here as Dave Moore tonight, so, okay.
We're all here.
We're all here.
Okay.
My apologies.
Just a quick note on lobby instructions. This is new for us, so welcome everybody. In order to speak on the topic of your choice, you will have to fill out a slip and turn it into the clerk, which the slips are in the back, Madam Clerk?
Yeah, give it to the deputy and they'll bring it up.
Okay, and then give it to a deputy and he will bring it up. So please stay seated until you are called. When you are called up, you will need to state your name and address clearly for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak on the topic of your choice. Lobby session will take place after the resolutions are completed and before reports from the administration. A proclamation.
We have a proclamation tonight for Tom Kelly, EMA Homeland Security Director, who is retiring.
I'd like to call Tom forward to the podium. Yeah, I know, you just got comfortable.
Dave, you're gonna kill me.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I'm honored to have the opportunity to recognize you this evening for your many years of service to Lorain County. And I know we were talking just before the meeting, and you know, normally people who are retiring are like leaving the office early, and you know, and all those things. And you just barely got here for the meeting, so.
I need something up for Mr. Williams, who was asking about something.
Okay. Well, we have a proclamation for you this evening. Do you want to say a few words first before we read the proclamation?
I was sitting there trying to figure out how many commissioners I just want to say gone through. That doesn't sound.
You went through me
I was
twice.
going to say, I'm 9.5, I think,
Okay, yeah.
for the renewal project in there too. But yeah, it's been 10, I believe. So,
Wow.
Okay.
I started, and I was hired by Herb Jacoby, Mary Jo Macy, and George Corey. So that was a few years ago, 30 and a half. So it's been a good run. We've done a lot of good things together. I can always say that we always maybe not have got along outside of work, but when something happened, we all worked together. And there's a lot of projects that are in existence even today that we worked on over the years. And Commissioner Moore, you know, with that technical rescue and hazardous materials stuff and things like that, that some of it's been adopted around the country. That, we've got the process. Pretty proud of all that stuff.
You want to remind people of your reputation every time you go out of town, something crazy happens
You know,
in
they have
Lorain
this
County?
thing that I wasn't supposed to know about tomorrow night. I didn't know because I happened to see it. And I said, "What's this?" And it's listed on my calendar as Employees Don't Listen Day. But every time I go somewhere, and it's been every time. The last one was last year when I was out in Midwest storm chasing, and the train derailment happened in Wellington about 4 o'clock in the morning. So, in fact, the Chrono Telegram years ago did a story about "Look out when Tom leaves" or something like that. It was on the front page. So,
Right.
yeah, I won't tell anybody when I'm leaving now.
Well, Tom, we have this proclamation for you in the matter of expressing our appreciation and best wishes to Tom Kelly on his retirement from the Lorain County Board of Commissioners. We'll read a few of the lines here. Whereas Tom Kelly announced retirement from his position effective June 4th, 2021, Tom's being recognized for 31 years of service to Lorain County, beginning on October 18th, 1990, and on August 7th, 1995, he was promoted to Director of Lorain County Emergency Management Agency. Tom was employed in the Communications Division for 10 years in Lorain County Sheriff's Department. Also, Tom has been an EMT in the state of Ohio for 25 years, served as part-time firefighter for Elyria Township, Sheffield Village, and Sheffield Township. He's a Proud pioneer, graduate of Leary High, attended Lorraine County Community College and received the Professional Development Certification from the Federal Emergency Management Agency in 1998. We know that you've sat on numerous associations. So therefore, be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Lorraine County that we hereby express appreciation to Tom for his dedication, devotion, faithful, conscientious, and rewarding service given by him to the County of Lorraine and its citizens. We wish Tom and his daughters Samantha, Angela, and family the best of happiness, peace, and good health to be enjoyed throughout his retirement. May he enjoy a vacation without the phone ringing and worry about the next storm rolling in. There you go.
I have
Okay.
two, by the way.
And it's signed by all three of us here today. We'd like to come down and present this to you if we could.
We do have a phone at 4:30 Friday afternoon. It's a factory reset meeting at the office on the phone.
Thank you. Yeah, I thought maybe to make it for the 20th anniversary of 9/11, since that was a pretty big day, 9/11. You know?
You know, they really changed what we did.
Yeah, it did, yeah, it did. So you guys have come back and do some events, you know?
Jump over here.
Oh, okay.
I thought Commissioner Lundy was gonna hold it with you.
Right here.
A couple down in case they're worried.
I'd rather see the other camera.
No, you don't want to see the iPad.
That
This
makes-
is good.
Commissioner Lundy, let's switch spots. Everything went just wants for Facebook, and John, you take that one for Facebook.
I'll make sure I can catch on. Say Jacoby.
I know, yeah, it is, there was some big work from Jacoby in that office. you
Ready?
know?
Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Congratulations, sir.
Yeah, how many 911 buildings have we built? Oh, well, yeah, well, you want to give it to my Hummer, remember? Hey, you want to give me sirens and lights and like,
By phone.
congratulations, Tom.
Thank you, Tom, for all your years of service. And thank you for extending your retirement. I know we had discussions over that for you to hold out till June, and we certainly appreciate you staying the course with us.
I do not want to see a surgical mask for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Okay, B, resolutions.
Number 1, investments.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hunk, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Number 2, appropriations.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hunk, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Number 3, transfers.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hunk, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Number 4, advances, repayments. There were none. Number 5, requisitions.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hunk, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Number 6, travel. There were none. Number 7, bills.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hunk, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, the next item of business is number 8, authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary sheet for our employees within the jurisdiction of the Lorraine County Board of Commissioners. At the conclusion of today's board meeting, the commissioners may recess into an executive session to discuss personnel, new hires, and board appointments. The next item of business is number 9. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution into the record.
Create Fund 1060, American Rescue Plan Fund, to receive monies from the U.S. Treasury for use by Lorraine County Board of Commissioners in accordance with House Bill 481.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board?
I would just state, as I've stated before, I'm looking forward to us having, a lot of public discussion about how we feel best to invest these dollars in the county government and also into the community. I know the focus of these dollars is for public health, also for anyone that's been impacted with a negative economic impact. And then we start getting into broadband and sewers and infrastructure issues as well, too. So look forward to those discussions and making a determination on how best to invest taxpayer dollars into the various areas of need in the county.
Absolutely, Commissioner Moore. I for one, want to thank Dan Petticord for helping out writing this resolution. As he knows, I'm a stickler for account numbers on resolutions, so we'll be making sure that every resolution for these funds will have the proper account number on it. Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes,
Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
the next item of business is number 10.
Authorize County Administrator Williams to enter an agreement with RKD Management, Inc., DBA Fast Tracks Auction Sales, Elyria, Ohio, to sell its surplus inventory through online auction site. Authorize payment of 20% of the gross sale price of property sold.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Administrator Williams, I know you had a successful project with them selling off the stuff at Golden Acres, the items at Golden Acres. You just want to give a quick review and what we're using them for this time?
Yeah, with Golden Acres, I believe it was around $30,000 what we brought in. And taking a look at the items, they were in rough shape, so that was actually pretty good. Here, we have a abundance of inventory throughout. Not things that we can really utilize today. I mean, there's desks in here that came in with the building when it was built. So we'll be taking inventory, using this service to hopefully recoup some costs in order to go through and purchase new equipment for the employees.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, the next item of business is number 11.
Enter into proposal with Hills Corrections Consulting, LLC, Ashland, can conduct a full-scale audit of the population, procedures, and operations at the Lorraine County Jail. Authorized payment amount not to exceed $75,000 to be paid from the general fund consulting fees account.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board?
Yes, just to be clear, in regards to this resolution, I think they were not clear enough in their presentation. I called them up and said, or in their contract, just so everyone is clear, they're going to be taking a look at the current jail, and there is a need to either spend the money to fix it up or do an investigation on whether or not we should build a new jail. And they're going to analyze how many like deputies per prisoners, things like that. So it's going to be something that we can then have a discussion on. What's the best use of some of the money that we are receiving, whether or not to build a new jail, repair the current jail, and it'll be something nice that we can make a solid decision. So just to let you know, I mean, based on the resolution, it didn't identify some of that other work that they'll be doing. So
Well, the jail is certainly very old and certainly in need of changes. So I know we're going to try to explore and see if we're able to use any of the rescue plan funds for those purposes. At the same time, it's almost like when you have a car that's worth $2,000 and you wonder if it's worth doing
Putting five into it,
$2,500 worth
yeah.
of repairs, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it'll be good to take a full-scale audit and take a look at it and see what reality looks like. But this has been one of those, I guess you could say, ticking time bomb issues that eventually we're going to have to take a really hard look at, and this is certainly one of the first steps in the process.
they did do this. I was out at the sheriff's at the jail talking to some of the guys, and I guess they did this 15 years ago, and nothing was done. So I think now financially, with what we have coming in, I think we're in a good spot to take a look at it, because cost 15 years ago was pretty low, and even cost for building 7 months ago was quite low. So I think it'll be interesting to see now what our options are going to be. So.
Okay, thank you, Commissioners. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, the next item of business is number 12.
Enter an agreement with Chalco Consulting Group Westlake in the amount not to exceed $24,000 for actuarial services for Lorraine County Healthcare Plan to be paid from the hospitalization professional services account.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? As commissioners may remember, Telco was on board business before. We rescinded that resolution, and we wanted to go through and refine the role Telco would have and define the scope of service that they would provide. In doing so, we do have a lower price than the first resolution, and Administrator Williams is here to update us on where we are in this process.
The old resolution, that was for a different project that's going through and doing an audit of the system. Basically taking a look at who's on the system that shouldn't be. That's an ongoing process right now. So it's not complete. We're going to be sending out emails to our employees to provide the information. With this system, this is actually going to help us plan for the next 5 to 10 years. Currently, just to give you an example, we had a employee who didn't need health care insurance. He just needed dental and vision. Well, he had to pick the health care insurance in order to get the dental and vision. Now, it doesn't sound like too big of a deal, but when you take a look at our health care insurance, it's about $30,000 per employee. That's cost to the county. And then on top of it, the employee has to pay for a service that they're really never going to use. Utilizing this company, we'll be able to go through, get the data that we need to make informed decisions on how to improve our plan and make sure our plan actually provides the services that are important to our employees. Currently under the plan, if an individual had a heart attack and wanted to go for outpatient therapy, it wouldn't be covered under our insurance. We're looking at ways to go through, create a plan again that would eliminate this, be beneficial to the employees, and save the county money.
Any comments, commissioners?
So they'll be assisting Minutemen, is that
Yes.
correct? In the process, yeah. I know this is definitely in their wheelhouse, so.
Yeah. So those two organizations, they work well together. It just makes sense for them to do this.
Okay.
Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Children and Family Council. The next item of business is number 13. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution into the record.
Approve and enter in contract with Bellafair JCB in the amount of $5,800 for the purchase and delivery of services effective May 10, 2021 through June 30, 2021, and will be paid from the contract services.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, Crime Lab Coroner. I move to take from the table agenda item number 14.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please read the resolution into the record.
Decision on declaring it necessary to levy a tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation to provide funds for 5 years for the criminal justice services under Section 307.45A7 for the support of the County Crime Lab and Section 307.45A6 County Coroner to be placed on the November 2nd, 2021 ballot for a duplicate year 21-22. Collectible in 22.
Okay. All right. So I will move to discussion for commissioners.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, commissioners. Who would like to start?
I like number 2. I mean, that's where we're at, right?
Yeah.
Which one we're going to do, 1, 2, or 3?
Yeah.
Okay. I think Tom's making a mad dash to explain.
I have my notes from last week.
I don't
on
think
what
people want
like.
to know, well, 1, 2, or 3.
I have my notes from last week, so I know which one I like. So we'll discuss it and hash it out.
I know, I'm just wondering if do I need to swear in, giving testimony
Yes.
again?
State your name and address, sir.
Yeah.
Just answer the questions, and we won't have a problem.
I got a joke about Michigan, if you'd like to hear it.
No, it's too late.
Actually, my recommendation would be number 3. With everything that we're looking at
That's
doing,
a backwards from last week, though.
No, he
You were,
was number 3.
no,
thought
the
you were-
larger one, 0.3 mil.
He was the 88 cents per 100,000.
yeah.
So with,
It's 88 cents per
82,
100,000
okay.
versus 82 versus 76. Thank you, Teresa, for the facts and
welcome.
figures on this.
You want to
So-
explain the difference?
just with the cost is going to be with doing the certification of the crime lab, getting the equipment, moving certification and calibration of the equipment. There's going to be a higher upfront cost to do that move, and getting the procedures written, and then also potential increases for the coroner. And we are looking at moving the coroner, doing upgrades there. We believe that this will have enough money for the first 5 years in order to cover all those costs. And that going with number 2, that potentially we could come in, roughly about $100,000, $200,000 less. It would have to come out of general fund.
So the 0.28 mil additional, we're at $9.80 for 100,000 value compared to 10.50 for the
Yeah.
0.30, so we have
You're
70
speaking
cents.
Yearly, correct, Commissioner?
Yearly,
You're on-
right,
you're on
annual,
yearly, I'm
annual
on
payment.
monthly.
Yeah,
Okay.
not monthly. Did I say monthly? I didn't
No,
mean
no,
monthly. I'd have a
I'm
heart
thinking
attack if
monthly,
that
you're
was the
thinking
case.
yearly.
Yeah. So, again, we're able to cover the costs of the move. We're able to get the certification. The certification is going to, one, it's is a move, is getting a new equipment in, it's getting those calibrated, getting the certifications of the equipment, and then potentially we're going to have to add additional staff as well. The group does a great job down there, but there's always room for improvement in adding additional personnel, moving costs, and then getting the coroner in, and then getting him a budget that's going to grow over the next 5 years is why I'm recommending the larger one.
Okay, and I apologize too, just I don't want to create any confusion for the public. When I spoke of the 88 cents, I'm speaking per month, and Commissioner Lundy speaking per annual.
Yeah.
And that's per 100,000 if we go with the .30. So I think if the average, what is the average home price range in Lorraine County? Do we know that, Administrator? I think we're probably in the 150 range, right, Commissioner
Actually,
Lundy, somewhere around there?
Commissioner Moore may actually know that better.
So, well, if we were gonna use a $200,000 home, so, you're basically another dollar.
179.9 median,
Okay.
Thank
79.
you,
according
thank
to
you.
Realtor.com.
Okay, so if we round up to a $200,000 home, so the worst case scenario would be $76 per month.
$21.
Or Commissioner Lundy, if we change it to the yearly, would be,
Well, if you're talking a $200,000 home, then I was saying we're $21.
yeah, I'm just rounding up to 200.
That was all the math we were gonna get from the lawyer's show today, so.
We're doing good, we're doing math in our heads over here, so,
Okay.
all right.
All right.
Do you have any further questions,
Just,
Commissioner?
everything's good with the coroner's on board, the coroner is supportive, and, also a big part is getting this lab certified as well, too.
Yeah. So the coroner is on board. He sent an email saying that he would be the co-chair of this with our crime lab director. So he's excited about it, willing to go out and sell this. And then, the big thing is having our team ready to go out and do it. Elizabeth, she'll probably come in the next couple of weeks in order to do a presentation to show everyone what's going on and then give more specifics on what it's going to take in order to become a certified lab.
The reason why I like this is the coroner basically is coming out of our general fund, would you say?
Yes.
But all of it? I think there's just percentages in there that I think,
There's a small part that you can pick up from different grants.
Right,
but
right.
The majority of that, and then don't forget, we're also giving money to the crime lab as well.
Correct.
In order to cover costs. I think this year will probably be around $100,000.
yeah. And the main thing is what I like about this is that the public can actually vote and support.
Yep.
You know, this is money that's going directly to services that you're going to be able to see, the crime lab and the coroner.
Yeah.
Okay, and with the sales tax reduction that we've had, people are going to see that we have an influx of cash, and that's short term. So what I like about this is that we're going to eventually, I like the fact that this department's going to be funded on its own. They're going to have to live within their means, and I think the people have more say in government when you have an elected official that has this revenue stream coming from the voters that actually, you know, are going to be able to vote on a coroner who has to account to the public for this mill that we're looking at today. So that's why I gave you a hard time last week.
Yeah.
Now that he's on board and co-chair, I like that. You know, so.
Well, one thing, if I may, with the crime lab, they're very critical in helping identify issues. You know, a few years ago, we actually had a bad batch of drugs that came in that was mixed. The crime lab was actually able to go through and help determine what the mix was in order to help law enforcement and get the word out to individuals. Regardless of how you feel about individuals that are potentially using this, when the drugs do come in this way, they do a great job identifying it and then helping law enforcement try to get it off the street as well.
Can you explain the certification, the difference between now versus?
Well, certification, last week I talked about, FBI came in and had the crime lab go through and do a test. They're not certified, so they got the results early on, and then they sent it down to a certified lab who retested the material and then came back and identified it the same way that our crime lab did. So by having a certification, it's like anything, you know, if it's certified, you can use it. I think Dan Petticourt probably can talk about this better in court, having a certified result versus a non-certified group.
Right. It's evidence. It's
Yeah.
evidence for quality.
So it just makes everyone feel more comfortable, gives a little bit more credibility, and by doing this, it would stop that additional test that has to go on. It can go to our group, the results are done, and it's final. No more secondary testing.
It's chain of custody issues for my staff. But
Yeah.
for my office, it would be a much more efficient process, absolutely.
So the price difference, you're saying 100 to 200,000, is that per year or over the 5-year term?
I'm sorry,
Going from number 2 to number 3.
that's for a 5-year term.
Okay, so it's about 25,000 a year to.
That's-
It's a 5-year term, but you're saying the price difference between a .28 mil and a .3 mil?
I'm sorry, I didn't write down the numbers
Oh, no,
here.
it was like $100,000 to $200,000 difference, so.
Yeah, it is what we were looking at.
A year or over the 5 years?
Over the 5 year.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
this is something that we'll go through. And again, with building costs today, what it's going to be in a couple years, it could be different as well.
Right, right.
So
To interrupt,
I would
it's
rather have more,
156
I'm sorry,
156,000 over 5 years then,
right,
not per year.
right.
Okay.
So I guess that difference, so you're saying that money would have to be, the shortfall would have to be made up from the general fund then? Is
It
that
would
what
have to
you're
be
saying,
made up
Tom?
from the general fund. And that's going off of what we know today. What could change? Plus, you know, typically you add 20% more for building costs and everything else. I don't know if that's going to increase. I would rather have, you know, additional funds coming in, so I'm not coming back and asking for more funds. At the end of 5 years, we can go through and we can do a reduction like what we did with the TB clinic last week.
Well, I think this plays a very important role with the epidemic that we still have in the county.
Yeah.
You know, I think we had, was about 130 deaths, I think, overdoses, whatever, last year. I think we're up to, 52 or something already this year. And, you know, when a loved one dies, people want to get to the bottom of it. They want to know, you know, what happened and who's responsible. And, you know, so the lab plays an important role in that. You know, the coroner plays an important role in that. And the epidemic's been overshadowed by the pandemic. You know, we're coming out of the pandemic, but this epidemic has been made even worse as a result of the pandemic. And so this is very critical in the investigation and helping, especially undercover agents and our undercover forces to identify these drugs and get to the people who are distributing them to our kids and our loved ones and get the drugs off the street. So this is part of our crime-fighting mechanism, if you will. So it's very important that we do this and that we do it the right way. And as I said, I just want to make sure we don't come up short or too short and make sure that we're going to cover things. But so my preference would be probably the .30 and just make sure if we're going to do this, we make sure it's done properly. So.
Commissioner Moore? Are you okay with the .30? Or did you?
Go ahead.
I'm okay with the .30. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I just having a hard time, but yeah, I think the fact that the voters will have a choice and the fact that they know where the money's going versus in our sales tax, they have no control. Pretty much, it's pretty much what the commissioners decide. This will be I think it's a direct benefit for the people to say this is where your taxes are going. So we'll let them decide. So I'll support the wishes of the board. So, do we need to close our discussion?
I will second.
Oh, I made a motion to close?
Yes, you
Second?
did. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Hung,
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, I will move to approve the resolution with option number 3, the .30. Can I get a second?
Second?
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore, and I think we had the discussion. So, Madam Clerk, do you want to read what it's going to be, or do you want to just?
I can read it.
Yes, if you would,
Okay.
please.
Declare it necessary to levy a tax in excess of 10 mil limitation to provide funds for the 5 years for the criminal justice services under section 307.45A7 for the support of the county crime lab and section 307.45A6 county coroner in the amount of .30 mil additional to be placed on the November 2nd, 2021 ballot for duplicate year 21, collectible in 22.
Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to common pleas, adult probation. The next item of business is number 15. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution into the record.
Approve a non-residential felony subsidy probation funding 407 grant agreement in the amount of $1,820,784 with the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction, Division of Parole and Community Services, Bureau of Community Sanctions for Lorraine County Adult Probation Department. These funds will establish to provide and operate a full supervision for offenders under community control within its jurisdiction until June 30th, 2023, and no cash match is required.
Move to approve.
Second?
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Next item of business is number 16.
Approve a non-residential misdemeanor subsidy probation funding 408 grant agreement in the amount of $284,896 with the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction, Division of Parole and Community Services, Bureau of Community Sanctions for Lorraine County Adult Probation Department. These funds will establish to provide and operate a full supervision for offenders under community control within its jurisdiction until June 30th, 2023, and no cash match is required.
Move to approve.
Second?
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to the Office of the Engineer. The next item of business is number 17. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution into the record.
Approve and enter into subdivider agreement Woods at Eaton LLC. Jonathan Palmer is the subdivider for the Woods at Eaton Subdivision Number 1 in Eaton Township. Subdivider will agree to bear all costs and expenses of the improvement, complemented by the subdivider agreement, and to pay all plan review, inspection, and testing fees.
Move to approve.
Second?
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Okay, the next item of business is number 17.
Approve and enter an agreement with Geosci, Inc. in the amount of $100,000 for ongoing engineering inspection and materials testing fees necessary to construct the woods at Eaton Subdivision Number 1, Eaton Township. These funds will be paid from the engineer MVGT account and will be reimbursed by the subdivider.
Move to approve.
Second?
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? That was 18, not 17. I think I said 17, so, anyway. Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner
Aye.
Moore? Commissioner Lundy.
Okay, we are moving on to the Health District. The next item of business is number 19.
Request that the Lorraine County Auditor pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 3709.29, 5705.191, and 5705.25, certify the Lorraine County Board of Commissioners the total current tax valuation within Lorraine County General Health District and the dollar amount of revenue that would be generated for a .5 mil renewal levy for the purpose of the Lorraine County General Health District for 5-year levy to place on the November 2nd, 2021 ballot.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Lundy. Any discussion from the board?
I was just thinking the health department hasn't had enough work to do lately. Now you got to work on a levy campaign.
Does the director wish to speak? Or Health Commissioner?
Sure, I should say a few words.
Okay.
Hi, Dave Koval, Health Commissioner, Lorraine County Public Health. Just as you know, this is the first step in a process to look at having us on the levy in November. My board would then take a look at the numbers and then come back with a resolution for the next meeting to ask for that if that's needed. Just real quick, just as a reminder, when we merged all the health departments here in Lorraine County in 2017, and we cut the levy in half. Again, this was a kind of an economies of scale. We had 3 administrations among the 3 different health departments. When you put them all together, that levy was cut from a 1 mil levy, which is $30 per $100,000 house per year, down to $15 per year. And again, not a huge amount of money, but we got the opportunity to cut the people's taxes and still provide better service. So again, this will be a renewal of that. So again, it wouldn't be any additional levy at that point. So that's really what it is. And then if I do end up back here in a few weeks, I can give you more detail. And let you
Commissioner Lundy? You're all set? Okay. All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
And I apologize, I should have said thank you to our Health Commissioner for coming out tonight. We appreciate it. Okay, moving on to Veterans. The next item of business is number 20.
Authorize payment of $1,000 to Andrews Crematory and Funeral Home, Lorraine, for indigent veteran Kenneth Charles Singer, Illyria, in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code 5901.25.
Move to approve.
Second?
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay. Welcome to the lobby portion of our meeting. In order to speak on the topic of your choice, you will have filled out a slip and turned it into the clerk. Please stay seated until you are called. When you're called up, you will need to state your name and address clearly for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak on the topic of your choice. And first up this evening, we have a Mr. Jeff Baxter. Welcome. I'm going to get my timer going, Jeff.
Well, thank you very much for this opportunity. You know, typically in the past when I've done this, I've been speaking in the morning, and I'm very happy to see that it is in the evening today. I think meetings at different times and dates, days of the week, and that are very important. I know that the audience is very light, but I also wanted to say congratulations and thank you for allowing this to be a public meeting and not just a Zoom meeting. We've all suffered in different ways. I think we've all grown in different ways through the Zoom sessions as well, but it's really nice to be here in person, and I wanted to say thank you for getting that done. Over time, I'm going to do some things on my own to promote people coming to these meetings. I do think it's important that people see our elected officials in action, and I'm going to see what I can do to drive some people into this meeting as well. But thank you very much, and we'll see you around.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, Madam Clerk, we just had one?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to reports. County Administrator, Mr. Tom Williams. Tom Williams,
opening the door.
are you
Yep.
here? Mr. Williams?
If I may, I'd actually like to talk to you about Kipton in their Memorial Day Parade. Last Sunday, it was 51 years that parade's been going on. And for the public that doesn't go, it's a great parade. They do it on the Sunday before Memorial Day. They really focus on what Memorial Day is about. And coming from a family of military, it's nice, it's refreshing. And there was a woman by the name of Dolores Whitney. 51 years ago, she actually started the Memorial Day Parade in Kipton. Last year, they would have celebrated the 50th, but because of COVID, they weren't able to do so. Unfortunately, earlier this year, Miss Whitney died. And she wasn't able to celebrate this, but her family came out to the event and was able to speak some kind words. But they really focused on the memorial of our veterans. And just for the community, if you're ever looking to go to an event, a Memorial Day event, I've been to a lot of them, but Kipton really does a great job. They focus on it, and it's because of how Miss Whitney went through and presented and made sure the focus stayed on the true cause. So I just want to thank the family for allowing me to participate in an event that she did so well. And sad that she wasn't able to make it, but would encourage everyone to attend next Memorial Day, that Sunday before, to head out to Kipton and truly see a great event. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Administrator Williams. Assistant County Prosecutor, Mr. Dan Petticord, do you have a report this evening?
I do not, Commissioner Hunter. I would like to ask that when the commission goes into executive session, you reserve time to speak about some potential litigation that I'd like to discuss with the board at that time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Petticord. Moving on to Commissioners' reports. If you guys don't mind, I'll go first. I just have one small item. I received an email from a constituent, and I'll just read it. I know we, as commissioners, applaud our staff many times in our commissioners' reports, and this was from a resident who wanted to applaud one of our staff members. So she said, "I want to take an opportunity to thank the current Board of Commissioners. At a recent meeting of the Lorain County Township Association, several of the county department heads were introduced, and they gave a short presentation. When David Blevins, Director of the Lorain County Solid Waste Department, spoke, he offered a time for questions and answers. I told him the prior Board of Commissioners refused to allow the townships to use the county shred truck to dispose of documents requiring to be shredded. Mr. Blevins' response was refreshing, and he stressed a willingness to partner with the townships and assist with their shredding requirements. I tried on several occasions over the past years to get the prior commissioners to team up with the townships, but was always told no. She goes on to say, this new era of cooperation and willingness to work together is exactly what Lorain County needs. So thank you again for communicating with us and sending correspondence into the commissioners. We always appreciate your feedback. That concludes my report. Commissioner Lundy, do you have a report?
Sure do. First off, I want to say it's refreshing to be here without wearing a mask, not feeling like I'm a hockey player in the penalty box here with all this plexiglass surrounding me and everything else. And so it's just, yeah, it's refreshing, very refreshing. First off, I'd like to send out a big thank you from the county to Pam Waite. Pam Waite recently resigned from the Mars Board. She has dedicated a lot of time to, the previous Addis Board before the merging of the boards, and also served as the vice chair of the Mars Board before resigning, and just want to thank her for her service and commitment over many, many years to the community. Also want to thank the Mars Board for stepping up and making a $4 million commitment to the Crisis Response Center, as you probably saw in the newspaper today. That's a very important project for our county, as we talked about earlier, with the crime lab in the corner, levy, how we still have an epidemic that's taking place in this county, and the Crisis Response Center will help out tremendously with those who are battling addiction and mental health issues. So we still have to, have ongoing conversations, and I believe to be a part of that as well, too, to keep that project moving forward. And I agree with my colleague, Commissioner Moore. I think we want to get shovels in the ground as soon as possible and get that thing going. So, but just really want to acknowledge the Mars Board for stepping up and making that commitment. So, also want to send out congratulations to past commander of the North Ridgeville VFW Post 9871, James Ordinsky. He will be sworn in as the VFW Ohio State Commander, District 9, later this month. There was a nice story on him in the paper today. I've known him for a while. He's an Army veteran of the Vietnam War. We thank him for his service. He says he wants to focus on helping vets who are battling mental health issues like PTSDs, and it's good to see that Jim's going to be in a leadership role there for the state, one of our own from here in Lorain County. With that said, Memorial Day was also an important day for us to remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice, and we've lost far too many, not only in this country but in this county. But on the square in Elyria, I had a chance to attend that event on Memorial Day prior to the parade, and also was there for the dedication of the new fountain. I learned some interesting historical facts about the fountain. I didn't realize there'd actually been 7 fountains, I guess, over the years in Elyria. Was unaware of that. Jim Vandemark was kind of giving the background for some research that was done by Bill Bird. And I guess it was interesting to know they used to stock that with fish. I guess they also had fishing competitions. That was kind of interesting. The one that kind of threw me for a curve, though, was that they used to keep a caged gator in the fountain area. That was really unusual. Those were different times, weren't they? I mean, who would ever think of a caged gator in the fountain? But anyhow, that's what they did. Avon Lake had a chance to run over there for their Memorial Day service, and Paul Orlowski, who's worked for Channel 5, he was actually the MC over there, but the color guard from the American Legion Post was there. My dad used to serve there, so I saw a lot of the gentlemen that he used to be in the color guard with, and brought back a lot of good memories. But an amazing turnout there. Just people were packed at Veterans Park for that event. And just want to thank everybody who is getting back to normal. And I can't say enough about our businesses, restaurants, retail shops. I think every place that I've walked into in the past couple days have all had signs posted about needing more help, and please be patient because the wait's going to be a little bit longer. The service may be slowed down a bit. So hopefully folks will be getting back to work, and they're certainly offering a lot more money out there than they ever have in the past. So if you're a college student or a high school student, boy, this is the summer to get a really good paying job. That's for sure. Other than $8.75, I think now you're probably looking at upwards of $13, $15 plus an hour. Cedar Point's doing, what, $20 an hour? So now's a good time to get out there and do that. And I do know that a lot of these summer camp programs I'm hearing in the community are having a tough time recruiting counselors to help out with the summer camps. So if you have a high school student or a college student, I think that's a great way to have a really good summer, helping out the youth and getting paid to do it as well, too. So, but it's just, I'm sure we all share in the excitement of trying to get back to whatever the new degree of normalcy is going to be But it's definitely nice to be back. And that completes my long report.
Thank you, Commissioner Lundy. Commissioner Moore?
I have no report.
Okay, our next item is F, the clerk's report.
I have nothing.
You have no report,
Don't.
Madam Clerk.
I'm so happy to be here with you.
We
I
are,
like that.
we are just so thrilled you, and thank you to the public who came out today. We certainly appreciate you being here. Our next item of business is F, board correspondence. I move to waive the reading of the board correspondence due to a lengthy executive session we have scheduled, and yes, Commissioner Moore, it will be lengthy.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Lundy.
I don't like executive sessions. So
It,
just-
it will be, yes.
I think I've heard that.
Yeah, well, and you guys can wait. It's only 10 to 7, so.
If you wait, you'll be waiting for about 30 seconds that happens after we get back from executive session.
Might take an hour.
Madam Clerk?
Wait an hour for us to come out and make a motion. I'm just letting you guys know.
Well, we'll say our goodbyes before we go
Oh,
into
okay,
executive session. Okay. So,
Giving them a warning.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
On the board
Oh,
correspondence,
and
that's where we're
and
at.
we're on board
So,
correspondence, yes.
Commissioner Hung,
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore.
Okay, so at this time, I move to adjourn into executive session to discuss personnel issues, employment, new hires, and pending litigation. Potential litigation. Okay, we had a second by Commissioner Moore. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
We have returned from executive session and our meeting is back in session. I move to approve the personnel summary sheet.
Second?
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Meeting announcements. Our next regularly scheduled board meeting is Wednesday, June 9th, 2021 at 6 p.m. Is there any further business? Since there's no further business, this meeting is adjourned.